The Tapestry November theme repair raises 4 questions. First of all, what is broken? Can it be repaired? Is it worth repairing? And how can it be repaired? Take these jeans, for example. I wore these jeans for many, many years. They started to wear out. My wife, Susan, offered to repair them by sewing on patches. Then the patches wore out. I was not giving them up. Then they became fashionable. Oh my goodness. Some might even say cool. Definitely worth repairing. An old BMW motorcycle I bought had not been taken care of and had fallen into disrepair. I had a trip planned to ride from New York to California in 1970. Could this bike be repaired to make the trip? With some TLC, new tires, and oil change, the bike was ready. 7,500 miles later, the bike was back in the shop awaiting new tires and another oil change. The trip was a success. Things can be repaired with lasting effects. Maybe even those old toasters, not sure. If they are deemed worth repairing. I was hanging a framed picture I had taken when, after about 15 seconds of hanging on the wall, it fell down, crashing to the floor, smashing the glass. Glass was everywhere, but the frame was intact. So I replaced the glass, rehung the picture using a picture hanger and not a nail. The picture is still hanging. It will be again. Many years later. Lesson learned, no more nails to hang pictures. Relationships, if broken, are more difficult to repair. Surprisingly, the divorce rate in Orange County, California is 72%, among the highest in the nation, whereas the nationwide rate of divorce is around 50%. Let's ask ourselves those 4 questions again. What is broken? The marriage is clearly broken. Can it be repaired? Is it worth repairing? How can it be repaired? There are many reasons why marriages fail. Research by the National Library of Medicine revealed that the 3 most common reasons spouses divorce were lack of commitment, infidelity, too much conflict. A friend of mine who lived in New York was seduced by the lure of Hollywood fame. He abandoned his wife and 3-year-old daughter, moved to California. He became estranged from his child and never tried to get in touch with her. Fast forward more than 50 years. Larry, we'll call him Larry, okay? Never tried to get in touch with his child. His child is now about 55, 60 years old, okay? I suggested that he give her a call, try to reconcile, try to maybe get her back in his life if possible. She would have none of it. He made several unsuccessful attempts. It was deeply hurtful to him, not to mention to his daughter, and a hurt that he carried to his grave. The relationship was worth repairing for sure, but in this case, impossible. A surprising number of divorced couples remarry, almost 80%, but not the ones from whom they were first divorced. That's about 12 to 15%. Statistics vary about couples who get back together after they separate and divorce. According to research, between 10 and 15% of couples reconcile after they separate. However, only about 6% of those couples remarry each other again after they divorce. Of those who remarry a second time, it doesn't work. The lower rate suggests that maybe if they do get back together, that the bond is even stronger than it was to begin with. So, let's go back to that old motorcycle. What about TLC? Of course, tender love and care. We need to also add listening and understanding if we're going to repair relationships. And we'll all admit that it's easier to repair things that are broken than relationships that are broken. But what happens if we apply TLCUC to relationships in our lives? If we keep tender love and care, listening and understanding foremost in our minds, we have a way to deal with the concept of repair. But above all, let's take care of those relationships that are different in our lives, hold them in our hearts and minds, and treasure them. No repair necessary. Thank you.
The Master's Tools Will Never Dismantle the Master's House is an essay by Audre Lorde, published in 1984. Lorde, born 1934, died 1992 at age 58, was a Black, feminist, lesbian, poet, mother, and activist. The essay discusses, among other things, the multiple divisions that exist among feminists. She offers an explanation on why the divisions exist, who benefits, and how to repair those gaps by honoring the differences and being in community with one another. Here are excerpts from that essay. For women, the need and desire to nurture each other is not pathological, but redemptive. And it is within that knowledge that our real power is rediscovered. It is this real connection which is so feared by a patriarchal world. For it is only under a patriarchal structure that maternity is the only social power open to women. Within the interdependence of mutual, non-dominant differences lies that security which enables us to descend into chaos of knowledge and return with true visions of our future, along with the concomitant power to effect those changes which can bring that future into being. Difference is that raw and powerful connection from which our personal power is forged. As women, we have been taught either to ignore our differences or to view them as causes for separation and suspicion, rather than as forces for change. Without community, there is no liberation, only the most vulnerable and temporary armistice between an individual and her oppression. But community must not mean a shedding of our differences, nor the pathetic pretense that these differences do not exist. Those of us who stand outside the circle of this society's definition of acceptable women, those of us who have been forged in the crucibles of difference, those of us who are poor, who are lesbians, who are Black, who are older, know that survival is not an academic skill. It is learning how to stand alone, unpopular, and sometimes reviled, and how to make common cause with those other identified as outside the structures in order to define and seek a world in which we can all flourish. It is learning how to take our differences and make them strengths. For the master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. They may allow us to temporarily beat him at his own game, but they will never enable us to bring about genuine change. And this fact is only threatening to those women who still define the master's house as their only source of support. In a world of possibility for us all, our personal visions help lay the groundwork for political action. The failure of the academic feminists to recognize difference as a crucial strength is a failure to reach beyond the first patriarchal lesson: divide and conquer. In our world must become define and empower. Women of today are still being called upon to stretch across the gap of male ignorance and to educate men as to our existence and our needs. This is an old and primary tool of all oppressors to keep the oppressed occupied with the master's concerns. Now we hear that it is the task of Black and third world women to educate white women in the face of tremendous resistance as to our existence, our differences, our relative roles in our joint survival. This is a diversion of energies and a tragic repetition of racist patriarchal thought. Simone de Beauvoir once said, quote, "It is in the knowledge of our genuine conditions, of the genuine conditions of our lives that we must draw our strength to live and our reasons for acting," end quote. Racism and homophobia are real conditions of all our lives in this place and this time. I urge each one of us here to reach down into that deep place of knowledge inside herself and touch that terror and loathing of any difference that lives there. See whose face it wears. Then the personal, as the political, can begin to illuminate all our choices.
Kintsugi, which means join with gold, is the Japanese art of repairing broken objects, often ceramic, pottery, or glass. Every break is unique, and instead of repairing an item like new, the 400-year-old technique actually highlights the scars as a part of the design, traditionally employing the gold nacre to piece shards together. Using kintsugi as a metaphor for repairing ourselves reveals an important truth. By embracing flaws and imperfections, we may become stronger, more resilient, and even more beautiful. Kintsugi was fairly widespread in Japan in the late 16th century and early 17th century. The origins of this aesthetic are uncertain, but one theory holds that it began in the late 15th century when Japanese shogun sent a damaged Chinese tea bowl back to China for repairs. When the tea bowl returned, repaired with ugly metal staples, the shogun considered it neither functional nor pleasing. His reaction may have prompted Japanese craftsmen to look for a more artistic means of repair. This new art form created something beautiful from broken pieces without disguising the damage, and so kintsugi came to be. The art of kintsugi linked to the Japanese philosophy of wabi-sabi, the acceptance and impermanence and imperfection, inevitable aspects of our world. Wabi-sabi encourages us to delight in the irregularities and inconsistencies of life, rather than strive for perfection. Our scars make us unique. Whether we're experiencing the the loss of a loved one or a job, recovering from an injury, divorce, or other personal tragedy. Kitsugi can help us reframe hardships by reminding us that we are not victims of our circumstances, and by showing us that what breaks can be remade into something beautiful. By embracing the perfectly imperfect, we breathe new life into the brokenness and practice living with loving acceptance. In a throwaway society of mass production and conformity, learning to accept and celebrate imperfect things, as Kitsugi demonstrates, can be liberating. Kitsugi shows us that the fragments of our disappointment and disillusion can be transformed into something new. Another Japanese philosophy related to Kitsugi reminds us to minimize waste and not squander our resources. With that mindset, we are encouraged to view the difficulties in our lives as opportunities for growth. In an effort to make value of what life has to offer, the joys, the hardships, we work to repair our broken spirit with bonds of acceptance and gratitude. Our resulting transformation may not be what we originally envisioned, but it is magnificent in its own right. Kintsugi celebrates brokenness, honoring the life story of the object, its ruin, and its repair. Mistakes and accidents are simply part of the experience of living. Rather than trying to restore a broken object to its original glory, Kitsugi focuses on creating a newly imagined, distinctive vessel, one that is transformed by its destruction and subsequent repair, one that highlights the impermanence of things and reminds us that imperfection is beautiful.
Sometimes broken things are beyond repair. I recently dropped my portable hard drive and could no longer access any of its data. The drive was too old, the damage too great. Fortunately, a local computer repair shop retrieved the files and transferred them to a new storage system. The drive remains corrupted, but my data is safe. Sometimes broken things do not lead to such satisfying conclusions, however. Think of all the broken things we've collectively discarded over the years. All the broken dishwashers, ovens, vacuum cleaners, dryers, televisions, computers. All the broken dishes, pots, bicycles, clothes, toys, sporting goods. In 2009, in an effort to curb waste, the Repair Cafe idea was born. A local meeting place that connects people with broken things to repair coaches with expertise, a Repair Cafe helps restore the functionality of damaged things. But what do we do with things that can't be fixed? Can they still offer us some value? Sometimes broken relationships are beyond repair too. My sister and I are estranged. My best friend from college and I no longer speak. What broke these relationships? I can only imagine, but I believe they are beyond repair. So, what do I do with these broken ties? Can I salvage them in any way? Do I keep them or set them free? Of brokenness, Alice Walker writes, "I will keep broken things. Their beauty is they need not ever be fixed." I find comfort in that idea. Sometimes embracing broken bonds can lead to acceptance, perhaps healing. Paradoxically, surrendering into the brokenness is its own kind of repair. I Will Keep Broken Things by Alice Walker. For my country. I will keep broken things. The big clay pot with raised iguanas chasing their tails, 2 of their wise heads sheared off. I will keep broken things. The old slave market basket brought to my door by Mississippi, a jagged hole gouged in its sturdy oak side. I will keep broken things, the memory of those long, delicious night swims with you. I will keep broken things. In my house, there remains an honored shelf on which I will keep broken things. Their beauty is they need not ever be fixed. I will keep your wild, free laughter, though it is now missing its reassuring and graceful hinge. I will keep broken things. Thank you so much. I will keep you, pilgrim of sorrow. I will keep myself.
Taoism is a way of living in harmony with the way of the universe, like flowing water. Benjamin Hoff's books, The Tao of Pooh and The Day of Piglet, utilize A.A. Milne's characters Pooh Bear and Piglet from Winnie the Pooh. Childlike awareness, virtue in action, and a sense of moving from despair and loss of hope to repair, to restore, to remedy, or accept. Piglet,
Yes.
I'm scared.
Would you like to talk about it?
I'm just so scared and anxious that things aren't getting better, maybe worse. People are angry, scared, and turning on one another, and I worry about my friends and all the people I love, and I wish I could give them all a hug. And oh, Piglet, I'm so scared.
I'm here. I hear you. I'm here.
But aren't you going to tell me not to be so silly and to pull myself together?
No, I'm not. I can't change the world right now or patronize you about how it's all going to be okay, because I don't know that. What I can do is make sure, as long as we're alive, that you know I'm here to listen and support. You won't ever need to feel those anxious feelings alone.
I'm feeling some of those anxious feelings moving away into the forest. I've never been more grateful to have you, Piglet, in my life.
Let's find a way today that can take us to tomorrow. Follow that way, a way like flowing water. Let's leave behind the things that do not matter and turn our lives to a more important chapter.
Let's take the time. Let's try to find what real life has to offer. And maybe then we'll find again what we had long forgotten.
Like a friend, true to the end. It will help us onward. The sun is high, the road is wide, and it starts where we are standing. No one knows how far it goes, for the road is never ending.
It goes away beyond what we have thought of. It flows away, away like flowing water.
Have we reached the end?
Yes, I suppose so. It seems to be the end.
It does. And yet,
Yes, Piglet?
for me, it also seems like a beginning.